Welcome. Hope everyone is having a good day. Welcome into the live. Over the course of the next 60 minutes, I am going to share with you a very simple way for you to land higher paying jobs guaranteed. I'm going to tell you the 6 big mistakes people make when they do job interviews that cost them the offer. Every time you interview, you have an opportunity to get a job offer, but if you're not getting the job offer and you don't know why the hiring manager is saying no to you, then that's going to be very challenging for you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the 6 big mistakes most people make and why the hiring manager will not give you a job offer. If what I'm saying to you during this live, if it resonates with you, speaks to your spirit in any way, shape, form, or fashion, tap the screen, like the screen. We want to get to 10,000 likes during this live. And all we're doing when we tap the screen, all we're doing is we are sharing the live on the rest of the platform to let everybody know if they want to get jobs, that this is the place to go. Before I get started, I want to share something or say something to you guys. And even if this is you're watching this on the replay on my YouTube channel, I am blown away by so many people who are, there's 2 things that I want to share. Blown away by so many people who are, if you give them a simple plan and it's challenging for them to believe it, which is fine, right? People are going to believe what they believe. You can tell a person what to do. Even if you tell them what to do, sometimes people just don't believe it. I'm going to talk about what I think that is in just a second, because I just got off the phone with a client who was on my fast track program, and it had nothing to do with my program. It had everything to do with himself, right? His belief in himself, faith in himself, judgment he feels from others, and that's stopping him from succeeding. And there's so many people who have that as a problem, right? So not only do I help people, not only do I help clients to get jobs, but these are the kinds of things that I deal with as well. I saw a guy, I just consumed a little bit of content, saw a guy doing weight loss. And he said, I made this tuna, grape tomato, and mini cucumber bowl. He said, I ate it 3 times a day for 40 days, and I lost a half a pound every single day. And he said, because it's low calorie, high protein. And I see a lot of people commenting on it. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. Because it just sounds too simple. What I realize is, whether it's simple or complex, whether it's hard or easy, the problem that people have is not with does it work or not. The problem that people have is between their ears, and it's a belief in oneself, in yourself. There's a lot of people who are struggling with that, and you may be one of those individuals. And I didn't plan to start this live off in this way, but you might be one of those individuals, and you are struggling. You're struggling to believe that you deserve it. You're struggling to believe that it's possible for you. It's possible for someone else, but it's not possible for you. You're struggling to believe that you can have it. So this conversation that I was having with a client, and I won't mention his name because I don't want, and he's not in the U.S., he's in another country. One of the things that it's important for all of us to understand is when we run into an internal problems, maybe it's an internal problem with belief. If you ask yourself the question why 5 times, you'll eventually get to the core reason why something happens. And so whenever I talk to a client, I try to be very empathetic. But sometimes I get very firm. I get very firm with people because it's hard for me to understand how it is so difficult. Well, I guess I understand it now. I'm going to say it, but I'm going to tell you what I was just thinking. It's hard for me to understand how difficult it is for people to just have faith. Right? Like, I've never struggled with that. So it's hard for me to understand that in other people. But now now, as I was saying that, the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and I realized why it's so difficult, right? Because people are putting faith in themselves and not faith in God, right? So when you put your faith in something that's fragile, like yourself, you're going to mess up. But when you put the results in the hands of someone who can't mess up, then you're going to be fine. Now, I want to share this with, because I wanted to give him an idea. I'm going to talk to him again, I think, today, but I wanted to give him an idea and understanding of, really, this is you making this all up in your own mind about yourself, which means you have the power to change it, right? So there are 3 things that I noticed from our conversation. 1, he was judging himself against other people in their career. So he was comparing himself to other people. So he said to me, you know, they're my friends. Like, this guy's he's a very accomplished professional, right? So he was saying, well, my friends are further along than me. They're doing better than me. And I said, how do you know that? How do you know how a person is doing? Do you have access to their bank account? Do you know what their life is like when they're not around you? Like, how do you know that, right? Well, you're looking at them and you are thinking they're doing better than you when you actually have no idea if they're doing better than you or not. So you are placing this judgment on yourself because you are failing to accept who you are and what you have become and what you can have in this world. So it's self-acceptance that you're challenged by, and that causes you to compare yourself to other people and judge yourself against other people. And then I asked him, why does that matter to you? I mean, do you care what people think about you? Like, why, right? That's one. The second thing I noticed about the conversation is I would ask very pointed questions about the why, and he continued to be negative about himself. And I said to him, if you have the ability to be negative, you also have the ability to be the opposite, which is positive. What is stopping you from being positive? Help me understand it. Like, where is the blockage? Something is stopping you from thinking positively about yourself. Even though you have education, you have a career, and so on and so forth. And then the third thing is, I realized when I was telling him some of the things that were important for him to consider and potentially do, he was afraid. So I started asking him this question. I said, what is the opposite of judgment? It's acceptance. So if you struggle with judgment, then your bigger struggle is acceptance. If you can learn how to accept yourself the way you are and not compare yourself to other people, judgment will disappear. And one of the examples I gave him, I said, if you walked into a dark room, if you wanted to change that room, what would you do? He said, turn on a light. Right. Light is the opposite of darkness, right? So if you wanted to change the room, you would just switch on the light. You can't go in the room and complain about there's no light when you haven't even touched the switch. to turn it on, the light switch. So I asked him, what is the opposite of negativity? It's positivity, right? If you have the strength, the ability to be negative, you also have the same strength to be positive. You just got to know how to turn that switch on. And if you have the ability to walk in fear, you also have the capacity to walk in faith, belief in yourself, belief in someone bigger than you. And then I asked him this question. I said, do you have any children? He said, yes. I said, what do your kids think about you? Your children, what do they think about you? They love me. They think I'm their hero. I said, why do you think that is? What have you done to make your children believe and see you as something you don't even see yourself as? And I realize a lot of you struggle with that. So many of you struggle with that. Your children, your family, your friends have a higher level of belief in you than you do in yourself. Which leads me to say, you will only go as far as you believe you can in your career. You will only reach as high as you believe you can in your career. And the reason why you're struggling, because you have not tapped into the faith that is already in you, the acceptance of who you are and where you are in your life. You haven't reached to that place yet in yourself, and you haven't thought about things positively. When you think about yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, I think this is an important point. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't see what I see. And so when you get in a job interview, you project that. You have the ability to be so much more and to do so much more and to have so much more. But you don't, because you are allowing the enemy, which could be your own thought about yourself, you're allowing the enemy to make you believe something that is not even true about you. Sometimes it takes someone else to show you something about you that you didn't even know was possible. I mean, we're all basically the same, right? So I live by the belief, if someone else has done it, I can do it too. But so many people don't look at, they're like, they look at something someone else has done and they think somehow there's some special ability or luck or something they were born with or born into that they did not have or access to or were not born into. They think somehow they can't have it. And that's a hard way to live. There's nothing impossible for you. You're not hampered by education, experience, connections. You're not hampered by any of that. You are hampered by a low belief in self. And until you change that, until you change it, nothing's going to change in your life. You know, I read these testimonies where people are, you know, on my fast track program that get $10,000 more than they've ever made before. I had one lady tell me, you know, I'm making $20 more an hour than I've ever made before. Now, for the first time in my life, I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. That was her testimony. Now, and I'm excited about that, right? That's man, that's great. I'm not the one that interviewed. I'm not the one that did the interview. I just told you what to say in the interview. I'm not the one that submitted the application. You submitted the application. I created the resume for you, but you had to submit the application. I'm not the one that picked the job to submit to. You did. You did all of the work. Like, why are you so surprised? I know and understand that the unlock was someone came along and told you what's possible. I still am a little confused about how it is you didn't believe it before now, but if it's possible for someone else, it's 100% possible for you. It is. You just have to learn to trust and believe in yourself and have faith that what God has for you is for you, that any door God opens, no man can close, that you've been given everything that you need to prosper in life. And you just have to take action and do it. Your issue right now, and I know I'm speaking to many people, your issue right now is a lack of belief in yourself. You just don't believe. You don't. You have little to no belief in your own ability. And the funny thing about the conversation that I had with this client earlier today, and it wasn't it wasn't an appointment. He sent me an email and he said, "Listen, I'm struggling mentally, and I just need to have a conversation so you can help me get out of this struggle." Now, I'm going to be honest about something. I don't feel sorry for people who struggle like that. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm saying, if we have the power to fall in a hole, we have the power to get ourselves out. And I know that, right? If we have the power to gain a bunch of weight, you have the same power and ability to lose it. If you have the power, I grew up poor. Meaning we didn't have money when I was a kid. The most money I've ever made in my life in 1 year was $2.7 million. So if I have the ability to be poor, I also have the ability to generate wealth. Nicole, I need a mentor. I'm so lost. Nicole, listen to me. You had to get to where you are right now. I know what you're saying when you're so lost. You're saying, I just don't know what to do or which way to turn or what levers to push or what to do or what. I know that's what you're saying. Okay? But inside of all of us is a mechanism that helps us to survive. This guy, I'm going to say this to you, Nicole, and everyone else. He said, I struggle with starting something new. That's what he said to me. And I said, every morning you wake up, It's a new day. You get up and you function and you make things happen, and you make things happen for your kids and your family, and you go to sleep and you start another new day. How can you tell me you struggle? You're not struggling to start anything new because you do it every single day. Your thought about what new is the issue. So I was trying to give him the understanding, like, you have the power. Like, what are you talking about? You have the ability to do it. You just don't know how to push the button to do it. You have a mental block, a belief in yourself. Faith is believing in something so strongly when you can't see it that you do it anyway. The Bible says faith is the substance. Substance is tangible stuff. Faith is the substance of the things that you hope for. And that same faith is the proof that you believe it even though you haven't seen it. Y'all struggling. It's tough for many of you. I'm thankful that I get the opportunity every day to get up and speak with you. Let me share something with you, a dream. I don't want to get emotional, but let me share with you guys a dream. It has always been my dream to speak life into people. That's always been my dream. In fact, one of my childhood buddies said to me, "Man, you have been preaching to us since you were a little kid. Even when we were in church, you would preach to us and speak to us and motivate us." He said this to me about 10 years ago. One of my childhood buddies. And I didn't remember it. He says, "Man, you've always done that." Right? And so I was looking to I wanted to be a speaker on big stages in big arenas. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a motivational speaker like Tony Robbins, or, some of the less what is his name? I can't remember his name. I wanted to be a speaker like that, right? Les Brown. The people that you see speaking on, that's what I want. Gary Vee, those individuals. I wanted to be on stages. And, the harder I pushed for that, the less of it I got. The harder I pushed to try to speak at conferences, the less of it I got. It wasn't until I decided to just let the Lord use my voice however he wanted to use it, right? And initially, I wasn't getting paid for it. I would just, anybody that needed motivation, anybody that needed direction, I would, motivate my team, the people that I managed. I would motivate clients. I was speaking life into. That's what motivating is all about. You speak life into people. That's all I was trying to do. And so, a few years ago, God told me, this is what I want you to do. I want you to speak life into the people via social media. Just get on there and start talking. And I never knew it was going to become this. Now I get the opportunity to speak to literally 5 to 10 million people a month on all my social media platforms. Now, I would have never imagined that. Right? What I wanted, please listen to me very carefully. What I wanted, what I envisioned, which was much smaller than what God had planned for me. What I wanted to do. What you want to do. Where you want to go. What you want to have is much smaller than what God He has planned for you. You have no idea. Zero. You're thinking about what's possible. it's too small. Your idea about what you can have, it's too small. The desire you have, the information that you put on that vision board, it's too small for you. You have no idea. So you dumb down your thinking because you think that what you can see in front of you is possible, and you have no idea about the vastness. My wife said this to me yesterday, because I am so amazed at the response that we're getting. I started the Fast Track program saying we're just going to help, one person a week, 4 people a month. That's what I can handle. Well, 4 people a month turned to 10 people a month, and I said, well, that's as far as I can go. And 10 people a month turned to 20 people a month. Now it's 60 people a month. Now it's 70 people a month. Now the capacity has to go to 80 to 100 people every single month, because the demand keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I thought it was going to be 4 people a month. Now I have no idea what the Lord is trying to do. And I thought 60, 80, 90, 100 people a month was going to be hard, and God is showing me that it's very simple. What you have planned for yourself is much smaller. Let me get on to this training. What you have planned for yourself is much smaller than you know. God has way bigger plans for you. Just have faith. Believe in yourself. You got it. You can do it. You have to stop limiting yourself, allowing yourself to be limited by your small beliefs. I've had the ability to travel all over the world, literally. I've been to Asia, to Africa, to South America, to the Caribbean, to the Middle East, to the UK and Europe, and all over the United States. Of all of the trips that I just told you about, I only paid for one. Out of my own pocket. What does that mean? I was sent and didn't even realize it. All over the world. Your thoughts and ideas for what you want is too small. You got to step up your game. You got to think bigger. You have to believe more. You have to learn how to listen to the voice of God when a message comes your way. You have to really pay close attention to everything that's going on around you. Why do you think you stopped here? There's millions upon millions upon millions of people on social media. Why did you stop here? Huh? You could have kept scrolling. Why here? You ever ask yourself that question? Maybe God's trying to tell you something. Guy asked me yesterday, man, I'm happy to see that you openly share your faith on social media. This is not about my faith. I mean, my faith is part of the fabric of who I am. I just want to be free to share whatever the Lord puts on my heart that helps people, whether I make money or not. I'm not responsible for getting customers. God is responsible for sending customers my way. That's why it doesn't bother me whether I make $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or $0 a day. I don't care. I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for sharing the message. Let me share something else with you, and then I'll get started. I was contemplating hopping on to this live right now. I got another meeting for coaching the group in a couple of hours. And I said, well, man, I just need to relax and get some rest. So I started a little later, so I was able to get a bit of rest, not in terms of sleep or anything, but I was able to kind of get some other things done. And I said, no, I'm going to be diligent and I'm going to be faithful. I am going to do what I have been instructed to do, no matter how I feel. I don't care. I'm going to do it. God will give me the strength I need to make it through. All right. So let's get started. If this is your first time into the live and you don't know anything about me, I've been in talent acquisition and recruiting for 36 years. And I have helped tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of people get hired. It's what I'm passionate about doing. I grew up very poor. My mom married my dad when she was 16 years old. And she had her first child when she was 18. So she never graduated from high school. She's 91 now, still living, and lives with me. And I'm happy about that. So we were on welfare. Now, I did not know any of this until I was about 12 or 13 years old when I started participating in team sports. My mom struggled to buy us things like equipment and things like that. She did her best, but she just didn't have the resources. She didn't have the skill set or anything like that. There was 8 of us, 4 boys and 4 girls in our family. 4 boys and 4 girls. And so when I started getting up and getting close to high school and junior high school and stuff like that, it ended up being 4. So my older siblings were, older than me, and they were out, married, gone, and it was 4 of us. And I remember at 12 or 13 years old, I felt like I was a burden on my mom because I would ask her for something we needed, or we would want to play a sport, and it was hard for her to pay for it. I felt like it was just more than she could handle, and I didn't like it. Maybe that's the protection part of me as a son. But God always provided. And when I became 14 years old, I said, I'm going to find me a job a place where I can make me some money, so my mom doesn't have to struggle like this, worrying about me. That if I needed something, some equipment or some shoes or some school supplies, I can just buy it myself. So since I was 14, I threw newspapers. When I turned 15, I started working at McDonald's. 16, I worked at Burger King and a pizza joint. At 17, 18, I worked at Popeyes. And then I had a bunch of college scholarships for wrestling. And I turned them down because my concern was if I went to college, my mom would then have to start paying for things, and I didn't want to put that burden on her. So I enlisted in the U.S. Army, where they told me, if you join the Army, we will help you get your education, and we will let you still wrestle at some of the bases. You can do that, which they did. So I was thankful for that. Kimberly said I needed to hear this. Thank you. You're welcome. To God be the glory. So I have been working since I was 14 years old. And the reason why I got in recruiting, when I found recruiting, I became very passionate about helping candidates get jobs. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together for a long time, but I realized that, wait a minute, I like doing this so much because it helps me to help people to not feel like I felt when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. Like if a man can finally get a job to take care of his family, or a woman can finally get a job to take care of her family and to support her family, man, that to me, that's a high. That is something that I am driven, that drives me. And so I'm still doing that today and have been doing that today, which is why I create these programs and these plans and write these books and try to provide all of these resources, because I'm trying to make it easier for you, trying to make the pathway easier for you. I don't want you to have to struggle. So that's what this is all about for me. Today I'm going to share with you the 6 big mistakes you make that stop you from getting job offers. Every time you interview, you have an opportunity to change your life and get a job offer. But if you don't know what the job interview is all about and how to navigate that, it's going to be tough for you. So I'm going to talk to you about the 6 things. Nobody tells you this. Nobody tells you. People avoid telling you. You don't get feedback. So you continue to be in that same old cycle. I'm going to tell you the 6 things that you need to avoid that nobody tells you about. Okay. So when a hiring manager wants to hire for a job, they come to my office. They sit down with me and say, Daniel, I need to hire for this particular position. I then create a job description for them, get their approval, and then I will do a salary survey and get a pay range that compares to that job description and get their approval. Once I have their approval on the job description and the pay range, I put it in the applicant tracking system and publish it on what we call a requisition. Okay? That requisition then goes to our, once it's published, it goes to our career site, and then the next day it comes to the job board where you see it. You then see it. The purpose of the job boards, and I'm writing a book right now called the 100 Jobs a Day in 30 Minutes Blueprint. It shows you how to apply to 100 jobs a day in just 30 minutes a day, so you can get more momentum and get 2 to 5 job interviews every single day. You get calls for interviews every single day. I'm writing that. So when it goes to the job board, you see it. You then apply to the job, and that resume comes back to me and my team. If we see what we want to see, the 4 things every hiring manager is looking for, then we call you to do a pre-screen. The purpose of the pre-screen really is to talk to you about the job and make sure it's something that you're okay with doing. It's not really about us picking apart your skill set. We already know that you've done the job, that you've done the job before, and you have the qualifications. So that's not the purpose of the interview. What is the purpose of the interview? You're going to get with the hiring manager, right? And many of you struggle with this. What questions are the hiring managers going to ask me, and why? Well, if you know the purpose of the interview, then you would understand how to answer those questions no matter what they ask you. You think the job interview is about you telling the hiring manager about your skill, experience, education, and background, but it's not. In fact, on my Fast Track program, I tell clients you don't talk about your work history because they don't hire you just because you can do the job. No one gives you a job offer just because you are the top candidate, most experienced candidate who can do the job. You have interviewed for a ton of jobs where you were the number 1 skilled candidate and you still didn't get the position. And the reason why you didn't get the position is because, and I'm just going to say it straight out, the hiring manager did not like you, not your skill. They like that, not your experience. They like that. They didn't like you. Translated, they didn't trust you. So the job interview with the hiring manager is about your character and trustworthiness. That's what it's about. They're thinking, can I feel confident that I can give this job to this person and they are going to do it the right way, the way we want it done? Not can this person do the job? Are they someone who has the character that if no one is watching, they're going to do the job the right way? They're going to have integrity in their profession. No one knows that when we look at your resume. We can't tell it. I was coaching a client today. I prepped her for her pre-screen, and she got a pre-screen. So she got through her pre-screen. Now they sent her a message today to do a hiring manager interview. And she is freaking out. What are they going to ask me? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh. And I said, calm down. It ain't that serious. Well, what if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to? I said, that's why you got me. I'm going to tell you every question they're going to ask you. why they ask it, and how you should answer the question. I know that, but what if they ask me something that you don't tell me? Did you just hear what I said? They're not going to ask you something. In the pre-screen, did they ask you everything that I told you they were going to ask you? Yes. It's going to the same thing's going to happen in the hiring manager. Same thing's going to happen. Every hiring manager asks the same questions, just in maybe a slightly different variation. Freaking out. I said, you are building up these fears in your brain about what could go wrong. When God, you have been given this hiring manager interview for this great job, start thinking about everything that can go right. So I started telling her, first, you got to understand, everybody's already sold on your ability to do the job. You have the skill to do the job. That has got your foot in the door, and the hiring manager is excited about it. So they are not going to talk to you about your skill, experience, education, and background. So you will not talk about that. You will only give explanations about things that are character related. Okay, so let me give you an example. If a hiring manager says to you, tell me about yourself, how do you respond? Most people start to talk about their work history. They go down in chronological order on their resume. That's not the question the hiring manager is asking you. What I teach people on my Fast Track program is I say when they ask you, tell me about yourself, what they're actually saying is this. Tell me about the 2, 3, or 4 character traits that make you uniquely you and different from everyone else that I might interview. That's what they're asking. So you pick out 2 to 3, 4 character traits and you say those and you add to it, and I'm someone you'll never have to worry about whether the job gets done or not. Let me tell you this quick story as it relates to this point. 3 weeks ago I was playing golf, and this guy I was playing a match play against in this group that I was in asked me what I did. I told him. He said, so you do recruiting too? I said, yes. About 2 holes after that, he asked me, he said, I want to ask you a question. When you are doing a job interview, can you tell if someone is BSing you? I said, yes, I can tell in seconds if they're BSing me. And he said, how? I said, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. I said, there's a scripture in the Bible, Luke 6:45, that says this. Out of the abundance of a person's thoughts, their mouth will speak. I said, what that tells me is, if I listen to a person talk, I can get insight into their thinking. I said, there's another scripture in the Old Testament that I partner with this, but most people don't. And that scripture is, as a person thinks, so is he. That simply means our actions reflect our thoughts. So watch this. You can say you love me, but if you don't do right by me, you're unfaithful. Do you really love me? No, you don't. Love seeks the good of another person. Love seeks the good of another person. You can say it out of your mouth, but your actions reflect your actual thoughts. Do you love me? No, you don't. You don't. Because you didn't seek my good above, you didn't seek my good above everything else. Right? Do I love my daughter? Yes. I would die for her. I seek the good of her, of our daughter, right? So character. In the interview, you need to understand that the reason why we're asking you interview questions is because we're trying to get insight into your thinking, which gives us insight into how you will act. That's why we're asking those questions. We're not trying to see what your work history is all about. You can fabricate that. But you can't fabricate and fake your character very long. So when we ask you, tell me about yourself, and you start saying, well, I used to work at this place. I did work at this place. I did this and I did that. I got promoted. I did this. I did that. I made this. I did that. And I worked here. I went to this school. When you start talking about that, you are losing the hiring manager, because that's not what we're asking. We're asking about your character, the who you are. Most people miss it. Okay? When we ask you the question, I see you're working. Help me understand, why are you looking to leave your current job? You say, well, I'm looking for a new opportunity. I'm looking for change. I'm looking for growth. I'm looking to make more money. When you say that, the hiring manager says, this person lacks loyalty and commitment. They're always looking for something better, which tells me that's part of their character. So if I hire them and something better comes along that they think is better, they're going to leave me too. So no thank you. I will offer this job to someone else. Someone asked me today, when I told them, I said, every hiring manager desires to have a person work 3 to 5 years minimum for them. He said, every hiring manager? I said, yes. They don't want to have to make these changes every 3 months, every 6 months, every year. They are looking to see if you have the character to stick around. Are you loyal? So that's why they ask the question. They're not trying to see if you're going to say something negative about the company that you're leaving. That company may have sucked. You may have had all of the right reasons for leaving. But does your character show you're leaving for a petty reason? Translated, you lack loyalty. You're not committed. Character traits. And most people don't understand that. That's what the job interview is all about. So the reason why you are not getting a job offer, a big mistake is you have misinterpreted, did not understand, listened to too many YouTube videos about what the job interview is about, which not a lot of people talk about. They just tell you interview questions and answers. You have listened to that thinking that is the case. Well, I have interviewed, I'm not trying to make a comparison, I've interviewed over 100,000 people in my career. Individuals and groups, video, virtual, in person. I've interviewed all, right? I know what the job interview is about. Why? Because my job hinged on my ability to submit candidates who were qualified based on what the hiring manager wanted. My job hinged on that. That's what I've been doing for 35 years. I am judged by the quality of the professional I bring to the hiring manager that they can hire. So I have to know what they want. What if you were laid off? If you were laid off of a job, reduction in force, I don't care why you were separated. You always say I was laid off. We don't question that. All right. What's the second big mistake that people are making that caused them to lose the job offer? Okay? The second big mistake you make is when you answer job interview questions, your answers are way too long. I know why you have long answers, but it's way too long. What you're trying to do is you're trying to show the hiring manager, give the hiring manager a next level understanding. So you give a response and then you explain your response. But what you don't know is that sends a signal to the hiring manager you're not sure about your original response. So that you're not believable. They don't think that they can trust you because you feel the need to explain your explanation. Okay? So you have to make sure that your answers are clear and concise. I call it kiss the hiring manager. Keep it short and simple. 15 seconds for non-behavior based questions like tell me about yourself. and 45 to 60 seconds for behavioral-based questions that use STAR, situation, task, action, result. The third reason why, and let me tell you a story about the answers being too long. 3 Mondays ago, this is a great example of it. 3 Mondays ago, I had a coaching call, a one-on-one coaching call with a new client. He came to me because he had been interviewing, but he hadn't gotten any job offers. I didn't know how bad it was. So for every coaching client that I have, I send them a 5-question intake questionnaire because I want to know what I'm helping this person with. Okay? So one of the questions in the survey is, what would you consider to be one of your greatest professional strengths? And his answer was that he was a good communicator and public speaker. And he was very good. So, in order for me to understand the core of the issue that he was having, I asked him these questions. How long have you been applying for jobs? He said, I graduated in July of 2025, so I've been applying to jobs since then. I said, okay, great. He has a degree in data analytics and business analytics. And I said, over the course of the last 12 months, approximately how many job interviews have you had? Whether it was in person, virtual, pre-screen, hiring manager, it doesn't matter. How many? He said 30. I said, what? So you've been applying to jobs and you've had 30 interviews in the last 12 months? He said, yes. And then I asked, okay, now I'm perplexed. How many job offers did you get? Because now I'm thinking this guy had to have turned down job offers. He said, I haven't gotten any job offers. That told me what his problem was. I said, I know what your issue is. Your issue is you talk too much in your interview. I said, without you telling me, I can tell you that when you, based on your intake, when you are asked a question, you give a response, you explain the explanation, and then you explain the reason why you explain the explanation. He says, yeah, that's what I do. Isn't that what the hiring manager wants me to do? No, they do not. When you explain your response, it shows the hiring manager that you lack confidence in your original response. The coaching call I had today with the client, when I was giving her the answers to the interview questions, she was like, is it that simple? Yes. I just feel like I need to say more. You don't. The more you say, the worse it gets. You don't want to overshare. You don't want to over-explain. That's not what you want to do, and almost all of you do that in an interview. If I'm right about it, in the chat, type amen. You are so right, Daniel. I struggle with giving very short answers. I feel the need to give an explanation for my short answer. It's costing you the job offer. Don't do that. Just give the answer. So I proved to him and to her today that they could give short answers. So this is what I said. What's your first name? What's your last name? Where were you born? What's your favorite color? What's your mother's name? How many siblings do you have? Where do you live? How long have you lived there? I asked very straightforward, pointed questions. She answered every single question in a second. She didn't think about it. She didn't explain. And then I said, why were you able to give me short answers for those questions? She said, because that's all you asked me. And I said, the hiring manager asked you the same thing. Very short questions. But you feel the need to explain more. Why? Why? It shows us you really don't believe what you say, right? You really don't believe in your original response. You lack confidence. You're not believable. Hiring managers are confused by that. So they don't pick you. I'm telling you. Now, I learned all of this from the hundreds of thousands of responses I've gotten back from hiring managers from the people they interviewed that I submitted. What's the third reason? The third reason is you lack preparation. A dog, a bear, a lion can smell fear. A hiring manager can tell when you are not prepared. Kobe Bryant, one of the best basketball players on the planet when he was alive, was asked a question. Kobe, you are always asked to take the last shot even in the biggest moments like a championship game. Do you ever get nervous? Kobe quickly said, no, I don't. The reporter said, come on. Tens of thousands of people are watching. The game is on the line. What do you mean you don't get nervous? Kobe said, let me explain something to you. That shot you see me taking in the championship at the buzzer, I have practiced that shot thousands of times off season, in the morning, at night, in the evening, on vacation, when people are watching, when no one is watching. I have practiced that shot over and over and over and over and over and over again. He said, so when it's time for me to take the shot, I rise up and I shoot the ball. He said, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to miss it, but I never get nervous. Nervousness stops you. Nervousness slows you down. It is a sign that you lack preparation. That's you. You don't answer the questions correctly because you're not prepared. You don't know what the interview is all about because you're not prepared. The hiring manager can see, why you walk in here and waste my time and you're not even ready to have a conversation about me so I can learn about you, so I can give you this $120,000. $120,000 is on the line for a salary for a job that you're an expert at doing, and you're not prepared to do this interview? Get out of my office. That's exactly what they're thinking. You lack preparation. Tiger Woods, one of the best golfers to ever live, said 1 week before every tournament, he made 1,000 contacts with the golf ball every single day. Whether it's 600 putts, chips, drives, whatever. When asked why did he do that, he said, because in the tournament, when I am standing over that golf ball, I don't want to have to think about what I'm going to do. I have just done it 7, 8, 9, 10,000 times the week before. I just want to be able to pull the trigger. That's preparation. I prep every candidate before an interview. I give them my top 50 interview questions and answer guide. I tell them every question that will ever be asked, how to answer those questions, why they should answer that way, every question that the hiring manager asks, and why the hiring manager asked that question, so they do not lack preparation. All they have to do is show up in the room, listen to the question, give the answer that has been rehearsed so they can get an offer. The reason why you don't get an offer, because you're not ready. You're not prepared. And no one tells you. No one gives you feedback. No one comes back to you and say they don't say to you, well, you didn't seem like you were completely ready. You weren't answering the questions like I wanted. Nobody comes back. They just say, oh, we decided to go with someone else. We decided to give the job to an internal candidate. We decided to go with someone else who had more experience. They're lying to you. They don't like you. They didn't trust you. If this is helpful to you, let's take 30 seconds and tap the screen 30 seconds, tap the screen like. All we're doing is we're telling the algorithm, the platform, we're helping people land a job. Please share this with more people so they can come over here and see. I know we have 111 people in the room, 100 people in the room, but just tap the screen because we're going to help as many people as possible. We're going to get to 10,000 likes today because I want to make sure that happens. I'm going to give you number 4 in just a second. Tap the screen. I want us to get to 6,000 likes real quick. It'll take us about 15 seconds with the number of people in the room, 15 seconds to get to 6,000 if you just keep tapping it. Ready? The timer is going now. Tap, 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 tap for 15 seconds. Okay, 12, 10, 9, 8. Come on, keep going. 7, 6, 5, 4. Faster. 3, 2, 1. We're at 57. 5, 4, 3. Almost. 2. You guys are awesome. 1. We're at 6,100 likes. That's awesome. That's what it's all about. Appreciate that. All we're doing, we're just spreading the message wider. That's all we're doing. All right. So let me tell you another big mistake that causes you guys to not get job offers. Everybody, please listen to me because I really want you to understand this. The fourth big reason why, thank you for contacting me, Karen. The fourth reason why you are failing to get an offer, you think this is beneficial, but it's not. The fourth reason why is you are overselling yourself in an interview. Guys, I want you to understand something, please. I'm going to walk you through this because I need you to understand this. When we post and publish a position, we're announcing to the world that we have a job opening. We put all of the things we want on that job opening. You see the job opening. You apply to the job opening. On the back end, in the talent acquisition department, we look at your resume and we say this person is a perfect fit. When we say this person is a perfect fit, we are sold on the fact that you have the skill, ability, education, and experience to do the job. We're sold on that fact. Okay? There is no question from our end that you can actually do the work that we need someone to do. Now, we're not clear on the level yet, and we're not clear if you have the character necessary to do the job. But when we look at your resume, a good recruiter and a good hiring manager can tell, yes, they can do the job. The problem you have, please listen to me, is you talk so much about your skill, experience, education, and background. You're overselling yourself. You're trying to convince the hiring manager that you are a right fit. Let me tell you what that does. Makes them feel like, oh, you think I'm stupid or something? I know you can do the job. I picked you. I tell the story about my car all the time. I drive a charcoal gray Chrysler 300C. Not a S, not a Touring. When I was looking for this car, I was in an older model silver Chrysler 300, so I knew I wanted a 300. I was in a Touring model, and I wanted the C because it has the executive trimmings. So I called around to a couple of car dealerships and said, this is what I'm looking for. I gave them the color, the features, everything that I wanted on the car, including the wheels, engine type, everything. So a couple of days after I put this word out, a guy called me and said, hey, I see that you're looking for a Chrysler 300. I have a white one that's an S model. I said, I'm not looking for a white one, and I'm not looking for an S. He tried to sell me on the S. Well, the S has a bigger engine than the 8. The S has this. The S has that. It tried to sell me over and over again. I said, I don't care what the S has. I don't want the S. I know what the engine type is in the S. I don't want that. A couple days later, another guy called me and says, hey, I know you're looking for a gray one, but I have a black one. I don't want a black one. Right? So he tried to sell me on the black one. No, thank you. The next week, another guy called me and said, hey, I know you want a charcoal gray one. everything that you said you wanted, this car has it. And I said, okay, great. I'll be there in 2 hours to look at it. So I went over to the car dealership, looked at the car. It was exactly what I wanted. He said, here's the keys. Do you need to drive? Would you like to test drive it? I said, I don't have to test drive it, but I will. So I test drove it. And when I came back, this guy proceeded to tell me and show me everything that I told him I wanted. I said, sir, stop. You don't have to sell me on this car, man. Just tell me where to sign. I'm the one that told you what I wanted. Just where do I sign? So I did. An hour and a half later, I was in the car and it's sitting in my garage. Stop trying to sell yourself. We already know you can do the job. You do not talk about your skill, experience, education, and background. We can see that. It's very clear. You have no idea how nails on a chalkboard that is to a hiring manager. So they don't want to hire you because that's annoying. So you don't sell yourself in an interview. I got two more. The fifth reason. Now this one might surprise you. The fifth is you ask too many questions at the end of the interview. Now I know what you've been told, but I want to hear from you. On average, at the end of an interview, when a hiring manager says, do you have any questions for me? How many questions do you ask? Type the number in the chat. I'm going to tell you how many you should be asking, but I want you to type the number in the chat. Put a number in the chat. How many questions do you ask at the end of the interview? Somebody said 2, 5, 2 to 3 questions. The average person will tell me 2 or 3 questions. Some people will say 4 questions. They ask those questions at the end of an interview. 3 to 4. Okay, now I'm going to ask you another question. Please be honest with me. At the end of an interview, a hiring manager is saying, that's all I have. And what they're thinking is, I have made my decision. And then they say, out of courtesy and to be polite, they'll ask you, do you have any questions for me? Here's the question I want to ask you. Do you think the hiring manager actually wants you to ask them questions? I want you to type it in the chat. Do you think they want you to ask them questions? Yes or no? And if you type yes, why? Do you think a hiring manager wants you to ask them questions? Yes or no? And if you type yes, why do you think they want you to ask them questions? Why do you think they want you to ask questions? Not why you want to ask questions. Why do you think they want to? Okay? Most people can't answer the second part of that question. You're asking questions for yourself. There you go. See, some people say, well, they want me to ask questions because they want to know if I'm interested. No, the fact that you are sitting in the interview seat shows that you're interested. And so Kenneth says, when you put it like that, no, they don't want us to ask questions. Right. They don't want you to ask them any questions. Guys, please, let me explain something to you. I know why you ask questions. I know why. And your reason for wanting to ask the questions is good. But when you ask the questions, the thing that you want to happen doesn't happen. The opposite actually happens. I've seen this happen hundreds of times. Person does a great interview, and then at the end, they're trying to convince the hiring manager, not convince the hiring manager, show them that they're interested. So they start asking these questions, and then the hiring manager will come to me and I say, how did the interview go? They say, well, it went well, but I'm not going to offer this person the position. And I say, why? She said, well, the hiring manager would say, I was going to offer them the position, but at the end they started asking me these questions, so I think they're a little skeptical about the job. Skeptical about the job. Skeptical. Your questions come across as skeptical, not that you are interested. What does success look like 30, 60, 90 days from now? What is the first, what would you want me to do the first 5 days? Why is the position vacant? What was success like with the last person in the role? What was this? What was that? Who was this? Who was that? Those questions sound skeptical to a hiring manager. If that's a surprise to you, type wow. So you don't ask questions at the end of an interview. Now, I know that candidates want to send a signal to the hiring manager that they're interested in the job. So I'm going to tell you how to do that by asking one question. And as a bonus, this same one question will get the hiring manager to tell you if they are going to make you an offer in 24 to 72 hours. Yes, the questions make you sound skeptical. Imagine, guy was trying to give me my car, right? And I said to him, hold on, before I buy it, how many miles are on it? How many miles on the tires? Is there a Carfax? Has there been a Carfax on it? How many owners was it? And he thinking, man, I thought you wanted to buy the car. Now you're asking me all these questions. It sounds like you are, listen, unsure. That's exactly what's happening in the interview. Nobody tells you guys this stuff because they're not in it real time. I am. I'm in this real time. When a hiring manager doesn't pick you, I lose too. Me, I'm the recruiter. When they don't hire you, I lose too. I ain't trying to lose. Okay? I'm not trying to lose. When they say no to you, they're saying no to me too. So I'm trying to get every hiring manager to say yes to you. So I'm trying to tell you everything that causes them to say no. How many questions should you ask at the end? One. And let me explain to you what you should ask, why you should ask it, what message it sends to the hiring manager, and now the hiring manager is about to tell you if they're going to make you an offer. Here it is. So at the end of an interview, hiring manager has already talked to you about the job, the problem the job has, and the problem they want you to solve. And then they get to the end and they say, that's all I have. Now, they could stop right there, but they don't. They're trying to be polite. Do you have any questions for me? Okay. This is how you should respond 100% of the time. Everyone on my Fast Track program, this is how they respond 100% of the time. They don't deviate from this. Every single time, this is what they say. Well, thank you very much for this interview. Write this down. Thank you very much for this interview. I am very excited I learned a lot. I'm very excited about this job. I do have one question for you. When would you like for me to get started? That's the question you ask. Thank you very much for this interview. I really learned a lot. I'm excited about this position. I do have one question for you. When would you like for me to get started? Let me tell you what the hiring manager hears. Oh, they are interested in the job. See, you just told them you're interested. Now, they have to respond verbally because you asked them a question. And remember I told you early, Luke 6:45 says, out of the abundance of a person's thoughts, the mouth will speak. And if you can ask a question and get a person to speak, you can interpret what they are going to do. Now it's your time. So you ask them, when would you like for me to start? Emma says, dang, you good. Emma, I've just been doing this for a long time. Thank you. So this is what happens when you do that. You just told the hiring manager, I want the job, because they're unsure. Now they're going to respond. There are two responses that you're listening for. One will tell you that you are going to get a job offer, and one will tell you you're not going to get a job offer. So let's deal with the one that says you are not going to get a job offer. If the hiring manager responds like this, well, we do have several other people we need to interview, and once we have interviewed everyone, then we will decide who we want to get started. They are not going to make you an offer. Type yes in the chat if you've ever heard that response. Type yes. They don't like you. Translate it. They don't trust you. They don't believe you. And you could be the most qualified person in the room. I have blown, personally, even though I know this, I have blown so many opportunities because of that. And I teach and train and develop candidates on the exact same thing. Now, if you ask that question, when would you like me to get started? And they answer like this, you are definitely going to get an offer for a job. Within 24 to 48 hours, 24 to 72 hours, an email will be sent to you with an offer. Okay? So at the end of an interview, you say, when would you like for me to get started? If a hiring manager says this, well, the next steps are someone from HR or talent acquisition will reach out to you because we need to have you complete your application. They will need you to finish some additional paperwork for onboarding. We will need to complete your background check. And once we have all of those things done, we need to get you into new hire orientation. We would like to have someone start new hire orientation Tuesday the 14th. Can you start on the 14th? You're definitely getting an offer. Like almost 100% of the time. The hiring manager just gave you insight into what they're thinking. They just walk you through the process for onboarding for the most part. So they're telling you, I like you. I trust you. I believe what you said in this interview. The job is yours. Now I'm about to tell you how, by sending a 4-sentence email reply, you can easily get the hiring manager to happily give you $2,000, $5,000 to $10,000 more from every written offer you get. If you want to know what that is, there's two things I want you to do. Put $2 in the chat. Just $sign in the chat. And then I want us to get to 12,000 likes. Just tap the screen. It'll take us literally 20 seconds to get to 12,000 likes. Because now I'm about to tell you how to make it. By the way, this works virtually 100% of the time. Every hot person on my fast track program gets a pay increase over the job offer that they get. Ariel, she got $20,000 over. Felicia, $12,000. Ron, $20,000. Jasmine, last week, interviewed for a records clerk position at the police department. They offered her at the interview a supervisor's position. Offered it to her. $17,000 more than she's ever made before. And then they came back yesterday and said, wait, we want to offer you the manager position. It's going to be like $30,000 more a year than she's ever made in her career. Yes, it's available to you, and you should be getting it. I'm going to show you how to get it. Not only am I going to tell you the question, I'm going to tell you why it works. I don't just like telling you the how. I really enjoy telling you the why, the psychology behind it, why it works, why I can claim a guarantee. I like to tell you the why. Because if I can tell you the why, then you can get down to business and make things happen. Keep tapping the screen. We're at 11,000 likes. Come on. One more thousand. We're good. Come on. Faster than that, man. Come on now. We're almost there. 10,900 likes. Okay. That's 11,000. That's good. Keep going. All right. So here we go. Let me walk you through the process in 3 seconds, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to write as a response. Everybody, please. You should never, ever sign an offer letter without first sending this reply. You are not going to lose the offer. They're not going to pull the offer if you respond just the way I'm about to tell you. Okay? And I don't care how big the offer is. I had a guy last week on a live, senior finance and accounting manager. So I asked him a couple of questions on the live. How big is the company? $600 million. How much did they offer you? $150. I used my tool. I found out what the pay range was, and I said the pay is too low. The range they had was $140 to $150 for the job. I said to him, send this email and ask for $160. They're going to give you $160. All right? So everybody, please listen to me. Let's say the job you just was offered pays $90,000. They offered you $90,000, but you want $96. Right? Let's say you want $96. I'm going to tell you how to get it. This is what you do. Okay? Now remember, I'm the one that does the pay range. I know what the pay ranges are. You think that top number is the max, but it's not the max. All right, here goes. So when you get an offer, we in talent acquisition and HR, we give you 3 days to sign it. 3 business days. You got to get it back to us in 3 days. So here's what you're going to do. Day 1, when you get the offer in your email, you see it in your Gmail account, you're going to do nothing. You're just going to hold on to it. You're going to read it, understand it, digest it, have dinner, go have a margarita, street taco, whatever you're going to do. You're going to enjoy your day. The second day can't be the third day, can't be the first day. The second day, you are going to send an email reply, and this is exactly what the email needs to say. You're going to say, thank you for this offer. I am very excited to join the team. I was wondering if the company is able to go to 96,000. Thanks again. I can't wait to get started. I'm going to say that again because this is important. You have to type the email just like this. And the offer has to be a written offer. You're going to say, thank you very much for this offer. I'm very excited to get started on the team. I was wondering if the company is able to go to 96,000. Thanks again. I can't wait to get started. Now let me explain to you what happens behind the scenes. When you click send, that email comes back to somebody like me. It might go directly to the hiring manager, but it might come back to somebody like me. So I get the email and I'll go to the hiring manager and say, hey, I just talked to Scott. Scott just sent me an email reply asking if we can go to 96 for his offer. Is that possible? So the hiring manager, if they can make the decision right on the spot, they're going to say, yeah, 96 is fine. They may think about it for a second, but 96 is fine. If they can't make the decision and they have to go to their manager, maybe a VP, a director, or a CEO, or whatever, they'll go to that person and say, hey, just got an email back from Scott, the guy I told you about. We offered him 90, but he was wondering if we can do 96. Is that possible? That VP or director or C-level executive will say this in response. Do you think they're worth it? And the hiring manager will say, oh, yeah, Let me tell you why they say, oh, yeah. Let me tell you why they say, oh, yeah, every time. Check it out. See, the hiring manager, when they're interviewing you, they're evaluating two things. One, your skill. So we already know you have the skill. Now they have interviewed you and they say, wait a minute. Not only does this person have the skill, experience, education to make my life easier, they have the character. I can really trust this person. The way they communicated in the interview, I believe this person is my person. They are about to make my life a lot easier. Now, they know if they say no to what you just sent, they know they got to go back through this whole process again and try to find another person like you. The question is it worth the $6,000 you asked for? No, it's not. It's not. Why? $6,000 an hour, $6,000, I'm sorry, over the course of a year is about $3 an hour more, $120 an hour a week, $120 a week more than what they offered you. Yeah, they'll always say yes. Now, let's say they don't say yes. They'll come back and say, well, we can't do 96. See if 93 will work. You still got a pay increase over the max amount. Right? Works every single time. I do it 100% of the time, which is why everybody on my coaching program gets. They get extra money. It's worth it. So what did I just cover for the last 90 minutes? I told you the 6 big mistakes that you make that is costing you the job offer. And I bet you many of you saw yourself in the center of about 5 out of 6 of them. You make these mistakes, which is why you don't get an offer. And if you can fix these mistakes, you will get an offer almost 100% of the time. But you don't get an offer. So you can't find a job. So you're without a job for 6 months. You're out of a job. Ron was out of a job for 8 months. $120,000. He had expanded his life and the life of his family to $120,000. He was at a company for 3.5 years, got laid off. Like, I don't know how he survived for 8 months. What would happen if you were out of a job for a month? There's another guy I talked to. He's a client right now, struggling to pay his mortgage. You know how much stress that puts on a family? Because can't find a job, can't land a job, can't get people to call him back. So many of you ask, what do you offer to help me to eliminate this? I'm going to tell you. If you're someone, you say, I'm not getting calls for interviews, and you want to start getting 2 to 4 calls every day for job interviews, you have to fix your resume. Okay, you have to fix it. So, this is what we offer to help you get and fix your resume. I have a basic resume. Okay, just a basic resume that will get, if you start using it, it will get you 2 to 3 job calls every single day. If I have a resume plus a cover letter. You should never send a cover letter with your application. You should only send a cover letter once you get a hiring manager interview. It's an introduction. I have a resume plus a cover letter plus a LinkedIn optimized resume and 3 bonuses. My top 50 interview questions and answer cheat sheet book. The What You Should Know Before You Go book. Everything you need to know. And the book, The Best Way to Negotiate Pay. What I just told you about how pay works, it tells you everything about how companies select pay and everything else. All right? The basic resume is $77.99. The resume plus the cover letter is $88.99. The top package, which is our complete interview ready package, it's $97.99 during this live, and for 10 people only. 10. If you would like to get the top package, if you purchase the basic package, we will automatically upgrade you to the top package for free. So you pay $77.99 and you automatically get upgraded to the top package. You save $20 right now, and you will start getting 2 to 4 calls for job interviews immediately. Send me an email right now, Daniel@dscds.com, and in the subject line, simply type live basic deal. Live basic deal. Live basic deal. If you send me an email that says live basic deal, I'll send you a link to grab it right now. The first 10 people who purchase, the deal is off. I'm going to set a countdown clock for 15 to 20 minutes in just a second, because I have another meeting I have to get to. Now watch this. If you want to join my Fast Track program, my Fast Track program is the program where I walk and coach you through and to a higher paying job offer, guaranteed in 30 days or less. We do your resume, your LinkedIn profile. We help you with that. I do all of your offer, interview, and career coaching one-on-one, not in a group. You also get group training. Tonight I do a group training on LinkedIn. I show people how to apply to 100 jobs a day in just 30 minutes in my LinkedIn training. LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com. I also do interview prep. I talk to the team tonight about the 4 types of interviews, every question that will be asked, every answer they need to give, and why. I do that every week because I want people to be fully prepared. I am also going to give you 4 bonuses. My top 50 interview questions and answer cheat sheet. I'm going to give you my What You Should Know Before You Go book. I'm going to give you my The Best Way to Negotiate Pay book. And I'm going to give you my Top Selling Your Total Career Makeover book. I am also going to give you 24 hours a day, 7-day-a-week support. So you have my cell number. So if you need help, you want coaching, you want any of those things, you send me a text message. It's Sunday. Somebody calls you and say, I would like to interview you Monday afternoon. You send me a text message. We will set up a Zoom call for first thing Monday morning if we need to. I will prep you so you can walk into that interview with confidence, knowing every question that will be asked and every answer you should give. My Fast Track program is $547 to join. And if you want to pay that in 4 installments, it's $136.75 a month for 4 months. During this live, and only during this live, my staff has convinced me, take 30% off. So you'll get 30% off of the Fast Track program. So instead of it being $547, it ends up being $383, and you can pay it in 4 installments. I will only allow 5 people during this live to join the program. That's it. Last night we had 21 new Fast Track clients who started. I originally said I was only going to let 60 people a month join. It looks like that number, because of the demand, is going to 80 people a month. My job is to make sure I can coach every single one of you and be available for every single one of you so you get the job you want, which works very well. So send me an email, and in the subject line type Fast 30. Fast 30. Fast 30. If you send me an email with Fast 30, me or my staff will send you an email right now, and we will give you a email link to join the Fast Track program. The next Fast Track starts Monday, and there are limited seats. I am only going to allow 5 people doing this live to join. That's it. If you don't catch it today, you're going to have to either catch me on another live, or you're going to have to pay the $547 to join. I had somebody reach out to me today who was on a live and said, hey, is that deal still available? I said, it's only available when I'm live. It is not available. It is not available when I am not live. It's $547 when I'm not live. And the price is going up in 2 weeks. Demand is so high, we need to make sure that we're making room and making space for that. So Fast 30 gives you the opportunity to sign up right now. Fast 30 for the Fast Track program and Live Basic Deal for the resume upgrade. If you want my top 50 interview questions and answer cheat sheet, you can get that as well. That's $11.99. If you send me an email with the subject line cheat sheet, I'll send you a link to grab that as well. It will make you ready for any interview. So if you have an interview that's coming up and you want to know every question that will be asked and all of those things, that cheat sheet is going to help you. So the 3 deals that we're offering is you can get your resume upgraded and get 2 to 4 calls every single day for job interviews. You could pay for the basic package, $77.99, and get automatically upgraded to the complete package, which is a resume cover letter, LinkedIn optimized resume, and the 3 bonuses. If you want to join my Fast Track program, you can join my Fast Track program and get all of the things, including me as your coach, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through getting a job guaranteed. Now, people say, well, how can you make the guarantee? You got to do everything that I tell you to do. Cross every T, dot every I. What do I tell you to do? You're going to have to spend 30 minutes a day, 30, applying to jobs the way that I tell you to apply to jobs. I'll show you where to apply. I'm not going to apply for you. You have to do that. If you apply to jobs the way that I tell you to apply to jobs, I'm going to show you how to do it. If you do that, you will be guaranteed to have a job with 2 to 4 job offers in the next 30 days guaranteed. So I'm going to set a countdown clock right now. What time is it? Okay, I got 15 minutes. So in 15 minutes, these deals will be off. So $79.99 is what my basic resume costs, but I'm going to upgrade you automatically to my $97.99 resume package. It's the complete package. Outside of this live, everybody buys the complete package. Everybody pays $97.99. I have orders right now sitting in my email where people have purchased the complete package for $97.99. So if you purchase the basic resume, $77.99, you have to send me Live Basic Deal. We will automatically upgrade you to the top package for free. You have to send me an email. It has to say Live Basic Deal, and then we will get you going. I will not allow people to purchase outside of the live. It will not happen. My staff knows that. Okay? All right. T. Blanken says, I'm interested in your coaching. I'll send you an email to book a coaching session if you want it. I'm happy to do that. If you want to join my Fast Track program, that'll be available as well. So, this is your opportunity. So, let me tell you this quick story as you are sending your emails. I see Karen. Thank you so much for sending your email. I'll have it sent to you right now. Years ago, I used to sing professionally on Daystar, the Daystar television network. Somebody earlier said, I recognize you. I sang on Daystar for 10 or 11 years. I was in London, England with Marcus and Joni. We were singing there and Marcus was speaking. All right, Karen, I see your email. And Marcus had crouched down because we were doing just some touring stuff. Marcus had crouched down, and he said something to me that totally blew me away. He said, I was not God's first choice to start Daystar. I said, what? What are you talking about? Like, Daystar at that time had about $300 million in assets. And you're telling me that you were not God's first choice? He says, I wasn't. He said, Dan, I didn't know anything about television. I'm shy. Although I speak in front of people, I'm shy. I knew nothing about television. I didn't have any money. I didn't know anything about satellites. I knew nothing about any of that. I was just married, had a child. I had no idea. He said these words. Everybody, please pay close attention. He said, I was not God's first choice. I was just the first person who said yes to God when he told me what he wanted me to do. You are one yes away from your whole life changing. This might be that opportunity. Might not be. One yes away. We help with resume reviews, resume reworks and creation, coaching calls, books, and the Fast Track program. We help about 36,000 people a year. You are one yes away from your whole life being changed. What stops us from saying yes? Fear, doubt, lack of belief, inaction. That's what stops us. An opportunity comes right in the middle of your face. You don't even know how you got there. You have been looking for a job, can't even find a job, and an opportunity to change that for your life shows up and you don't even know how you got there. And you still say no to the opportunity. That's crazy to me. Crazy. When God asked me to start doing this, showed me to start doing this, I was working part-time to make extra money at the golf course where I'm a member. I never told this story. I'm going to tell it anyway. I was working part-time behind the counter. I told the general manager, because he had asked me to start working there. You're here all the time hitting balls. I was working virtually. I was a manager at the time for one of the largest pediatric urgent care clinic companies in the state of Texas. You're here all the time. You always have a great attitude. I would love to have you work here, even if it's part-time, 1 day a week on weekends or something like that. And if you do that, I'll pay for your membership. I was like, what? Yeah, you can play golf anytime you want. You can hit as many balls as you want. We'll give you your greens fees, and we'll pay for your membership. All of that, we'll take care of all that for you. If you just work here, we need some maturity behind the counter. And I said, okay. I talked to my wife and said, hey, baby, listen, can I do it? You okay with me doing it? Because I'm like, it's golf, baby. I'll play golf now. Yeah, so I can come here and work, and you going to let me play golf? I can save $60, $70 a round every time I play? What? Come on now. So I took the job. And I don't know why, but I started talking to people about job interviewing. I just put the camera in front of my face in the clubhouse and started talking about how do you answer interview questions. I had no idea it was going to morph into what it is currently. I just said, okay, I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just going to do it. So I just started sharing my expertise. By the way, I was a recruiting manager at the time. I was recruiting. I said yes. And I got up the next day and I said, yep, yes. And the next day, yes. And the next day, yes. Yes. At the time, I had 5,000 followers on Facebook. Today, I have 145,000. At the time, I had like 15,000 followers on Instagram. I got almost 250,000 followers on Instagram. At the time, I think I had 42,000 followers on TikTok. I'm getting close to 240,000 followers on TikTok. At the time, I think I had 500 subscribers on YouTube. I'm getting close to 3,000 followers on YouTube. At the time, Facebook didn't offer me no money for the content I was posting. Now Facebook pays me a ton of money every single month just to post content the way I'm posting content. I said yes. That's all I said was yes. I had no idea. Zero. No idea what it was going to turn into. What did it turn into, Daniel? 70 fast track clients a month. 36,000 people helped a year with resume reviews, books, coaching sessions, speaking engagements. I've been asked to speak all kinds of places. That's what it's morphed into. All of us, we're one yes away. One. All right, I got about 5 minutes left, and then I have to get out of here. So if you're interested in the resume upgrade that gets you 2 to 4 job interview calls a day, send me an email that says live basic deal, live basic deal. The first 10 people, now 7 people who buy the resume basic deal, the next 7 people who buy the deal will be off. If you want the fast track program, send me an email that says fast 30 will take 30% off of your cost immediately. And we let you pay it out in 4 installments for 4 months. You'll get jobs that pay you $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 more than the max offer. If you want my cheat sheet, all you have to do is send me an email that says cheat sheet, and I will send you an email that says cheat sheet. Karen, you say you signed up. When it comes through, I'll let you know. I really appreciate that. I'm look forward to working with you. Again, we only allow so many people to join. So email me now, Daniel@dscds.com. 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 And I'm happy to take care of you. We got 5 more minutes. If you have a question, leave it in the chat. If you have a question, leave it in the chat. I'm happy to help you. What about when you have to interview with multiple people separately? Okay. So, Kenneth, I'm trying to understand your question. Are you saying multiple people like what? Let me explain something to you, Kenneth, how the process works. You're going to interview pre-screen with a recruiter or maybe somebody who's assistant to the hiring manager. Then you should be interviewing with the hiring manager. They may then have you interview with the team to make sure everybody understands, this awesome person is about to come through. And then you may have to interview with the hiring manager's manager. That's as far as it should go. Okay? But if you're interviewing with the recruiter, you say, when would you like for me to interview the hiring manager? If you're interviewing with the hiring manager, you say, when would you like for me to get started? If you interview with the team, you ask the same thing. When would you like for me to get started? If you interview with the hiring manager's manager, you ask the same thing. When would you like for me to get started? That's what you say. You don't deviate from that. You do exactly that. Okay? I hope that helps you. All right. Karen, congratulations and welcome to the Fast Track program. I do see that your order just came through. I appreciate it. You're going to get a welcome email from me in just a second that tells you what the next steps are and where we're going to be meeting. Everything about your life, Karen, it's about to change. Everything about your life is about to change. So thank you for your faith and confidence, and thank you for listening to the Lord, because it's all God. I promise you that. If you want to join my Fast Track program, you send me an email that says Fast 30, and we'll give you 30% off the entire Fast Track program. If you want the resume upgrade from a basic resume to our top all-in package, it's $77 for the basic resume, but we give you the whole full package, which is usually $98. You get that, okay? And then all you have to do is send me an email that says live basic deal. And if you want my interview cheat sheet, you send me an email, and in the subject line type cheat sheet, and I'll send you an email for our cheat sheet that is $11.99. I do have a new book that'll be coming out in a couple of days. I am hoping before Friday. My 100 Jobs a Day in 30-Minute Blueprint. It's about 60 pages. It's going to blow your socks off. It's going to give you the whole understanding behind. I hope your life was touched in some way by God. I hope you got clarity and direction, and that favor follows you from now on. Remember, you are one yes away from your entire life changing. Listen for the voice and then answer yes. Listen and be prepared to say yes. 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 And I promise you, I'm a living example of it. Everything about your life will change if you say yes to the right opportunity. God bless you. I will see you guys again on the next live. Take care.